Hello, everybody. We're dealing with a subject that is quite personal and really taking society by storm. It's one of those topics that has been in existence for generations. However, we have never ever truly tackled it or spoken about it. That is openly in society. Stop the abuse of mothers, grandmothers, and women. This is a highly delicate subject, and you may ask yourself, well, it's personal. Are you not being, personally, too personally involved? However, I am speaking from experience, and having studied psychology, I think I am quite able to tackle the subject or bring it to light, cause an awareness around it. How many of you have been led to believe that the wife in this image is emotionally abusive? How many of you, as business colleagues, family, and personal friends, have been led to believe the same? This image is like you looking in through a window. You believe what is told to you without ever being visibly present at any situation. This is the manipulation of you and making you the accessory to abuse. She could be asking him for things for the house and children. She could be asking him to pay the bills. She could be asking him to stop his affair. Never underestimate that a person that knows how to charm people. I was portrayed as this. Although surrounded by busy children in church, you cannot even call your spouse, not even for your children. You can't, not even to say hello. How many wives have to go through receptionists or administrators? How many wives leave messages and 2 to 3 hours, no response? What is said to your spouse? Your wife called again. This is the 10th time. They wait for your child to die before they can respond. Be very careful about situations like these. My spouse used to put me on speakerphone. Not in the early years of our marriage, but only after we started our company. Imagine that moment of being on speakerphone and then screaming that your son is dying. You don't know what really happens in a home. Only what you are manipulated into believing. How many wives are homemakers or stay-at-home wives? Do you know the stats that depict that husbands demand their wives be at home? Do you know that oftentimes it goes like this? Why do you need to work? Who's going to raise our children? I don't want anyone else but my wife with them. How many wives ask to go back to work? How many ask their spouses to find them jobs outside of their partners? How many ask their spouses to let them go back to their studies or own professions? Control is dangerous. Knowing this, I open my home to other children and the presence of their parents. Accountability of my time and not offloading on my spouse. Can anyone be standing at a school activity and phone checking their husband? Come on, in all reality, it just doesn't go, isn't it? There's something peculiar with that picture. Why? Simply because, I know I'm off the slide right now, but this is why it is so important. Your children demand your full attention. Not only that, you know that you're accountable for them. So you will have eyes on them. For the ones that are on their phones and your children see this, they will point it out. You don't need to have your spouse do that. More importantly, parents around you will also point it out. I was told I don't need to work. Handle the stuff at home, in the home office. But leave it to me. The children are important. Let me paint the true picture. When you are a stay-at-home wife, you have no support structure for yourself. So when someone tells you, why did you stay? Why did you stay? This is what reality is all about. You have no support structure for yourself. You were also put in this position of truly believing the affection of your spouse. Do you doubt your spouse? Even with them being the way they are, do you truly, as a wife, do you truly doubt them? You don't, because you genuinely love them. When you genuinely love your spouse, it is easy for you to be in this position to not only want to believe them, but to forgive them. You are also put in this position of truly believing the affection of your spouse because they don't let you get involved in their lives. You know only what you know. I hardly saw my spouse as colleagues. You are also in this position. How are you going to provide for the children? You know that line? How many of you have had this spoken over you? How are you going to provide? How are you going to put a roof over your head? How are you going to feed yourself, clothe yourself? Who's going to be there for you? How many of you have been told that you're fortunate enough that you have me? How many of you have been told, I give you everything? Your spouse will lash out at you, hit you, swear you, and manipulate you into forgiveness. I am sorry. You know that I have an anger problem. You know that I hate being disturbed when I'm busy. You know that I never like you leaving our children, even to come out with me. That's a good one. Most times that you would find things happening outside of the office, late nights, whatever. Very seldom would you be able to go. Why? Because you know in your heart, given a choice, you know what you will choose, because you know what is most important. It would hurt, however, when you truly love your children, nothing is more important. Sounds like your situation. You must forgive all of this because the only thing you will be good at is cleaning someone else's home or working in a supermarket. These words sound familiar? Yet, however, this is a way of bringing to light that control, that manipulation. When you are not allowed to join in the workforce, when you are not allowed to even get involved in, like truly involved in your business, the work situation, it's because they need to control you into not being professional enough so that you can join in at any time, anywhere. You have to understand this. Parental alienation is defined as the manipulation of a children to have them experience fear and hatred for the targeted parent for no apparent reason. I knew something was wrong when my spouse started to convince my children that I was a problem. Yet I am with them 24/7. It was just weird. Sometimes, coming back from going out for ice cream or whatever, there would be this thing, if we separate, my children will choose me. They love me. And it would be, isn't that right, guys? This is the pattern, or this was the pattern until my son said, speak for yourself. I will decide what's right for me. He demonstrated his decision with, if mom doesn't come with, I stay at home with. I used to make my son go. If he was invited, I would make him go. But he would call me. He would actually, sometimes use his phone, or he would use the office phone. But he would call whichever office he was in, wherever he was. The deception of using children is that they take them with, but make them wait in another office or place. The children can never see who or what is going on in the inside. This is like wives that are made to wait in the cars, and guess what? You know that they have sneaked out the back door and driven off or popped down a road or two with someone else. But because of professionalism, you never go barging in like a fishwife and disrupt someone else's workplace. I watched mine drive off in a Subaru. Children grow up and start doing exactly the same thing. They are fed so much junk that one has to let them be or leave them be. A good mother is one that never stops the child from choosing. A good mother will never make a child choose her or her father. However, business and money are strange things. One is led to believe that it is always the mother, like in the image. However, who does the bulk of the nurturing? Even with working, who does the bake sales, the birthdays, the fetching and dropping off? Who does the sitting up when children have bad friendship moments? Think about it. Kids, has dad really given you any advice or just spoiled you so you can smile and people think he's fixed everything? If he does, then why not his relationship with your mother? How many have been led to believe the worst? How many neglect your mothers and grandmothers? How many of you try to manipulate others into believing your pain as children now? This is changing. For those business partners, colleagues, and children that keep supporting the abusers, the liars, the manipulators, know that society is greater than a group of easily misled individuals. The more one refuses to correct the wrongs, the lies, and the abuse, the more the outside world sees you as the silent but powerful accessory to destroying mothers and grandmothers. The more light that is shed on this, the more the business world will stop wanting to do business with you, simply because you know the truth and refused to oppose it. Children, you children out there that are young, by the time they reach their 40s, by the time you reach your 40s, will have no work life because no one will believe their lives, your lives. Their children's lives or your children's lives will be destroyed because of their selfishness or your selfishness. You need to understand this. Society is sitting up and understanding that for too long they have been silent. Mothers and grandmothers, women, are starting to speak out, be more vocal about what it is to be suffocated, stifled, oppressed, suppressed, destroyed, simply for being mothers, being grandmothers, being women, being wives. Sitting silently by and watching the life of a woman being destroyed reveals the pathetic nature of a person. You can be the most professional person in the world. You can have as many PhDs in this world as one could possibly have. But when you sit silently by and allow for a woman to be destroyed simply for being a mother, a grandmother, a wife, a business partner, that is a mother, a grandmother, a wife, reveals that you yourself have the ability in you to be of a pathetic nature because you don't do anything. How can you support any form of abuse when it happens in your presence and you remain quiet because of your job, because of a business deal? When a person is killed, what would you say? This is a hard line because abuse can lead a person to take their life. When that person takes their life and you have known about it and you knew the situation, you kept quiet, do you think it's not going to haunt you? Do you think you're just going to breeze through life celebrating every single second of it? A greater world is watching, and they study everyone and everything before they can do business with anyone. Trying to provoke people, trying to fabricate scenarios that would implicate mothers and grandmothers is childish to them because business is a hardcore thing. Spouses and external families will also never be trusted because a woman is still a woman, and society hates when women are wrongfully exploited on top of being abused. Work colleagues, thinking about applying somewhere else for a higher position? Think again. Lack of faith and trust to be ethical is a serious thing. Business partners that are still in bed with partners that have ripped their wives off, people will stay from you simply because they need people to not only have their backs, but the backs of their precious wives and children in difficult situations. Children that are acting as if you are supportive of your mothers and grandmothers, society has your number, and they will never stop watching you until you change. Do what is right, or be destroyed the same way you have destroyed the one that has given you everything one could possibly give. Let me tell you something about children that choose sides, children that pretend that they are caring but are accessories to the abuse. The lives of your children, when society steps in, will be seriously affected because your child will be known as somebody who has a parent that is supportive of abuse. Society will wait for you to instruct and teach your child to be exactly the same way portraying the same behavior that you are. If you want your child to be the best that they could possibly be, allow them to see the harsh realities that exist and ask them, what do you think about the situation? What would you like to change? What would you change if you could possibly change it? They would teach you a thing or two. Children that are genuine, you are the change makers. You are the breath of fresh wind that the overlooked world needs. You are the ones that hate wrong, even if it means you having to go at life on your own because of your decision to choose right instead of wealth. You are the turning point in society, and God will honor you for protecting His idea. What do I mean by this? Women is God's idea. God created, and after He had been finished and He is done with creating, He knew what man needed. He needed a helper, and that helper resulted in the appearance of woman being created. His ideas are never wrong. Know this. For those that are still coming out in support of this, remaining quiet, urging somebody, backing them up, you stick to your guns. Show them who's boss. Show them who's in control. You worked so hard for this. Because they have your number. You think you are manipulative. You're also being manipulated. Never underestimate the cycle of abuse. It turns many a circle. I pray that more and more of you, your mothers that have experienced hardships, your sisters, your grandmothers, people in your church, people in your community that have experienced, and you've watched them, you remained quiet. Stop. You can change all of that. You can prevent your daughters' daughters from being victims of. Have a wonderful day, everybody.